Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Coach Lilia. I'm a relationship coach and a narcissistic abuse survivor, and today I'm going to be talking to you about covert narcissistic females, and specifically the 4 hoovering tactics that these women will start using on you once they sense that the veil has been lifted and you actually see through this and you're about to pull yourself out of this marriage, relationship, whatever you guys are in, right? So now it doesn't mean that all of these will happen. Most of them probably will. And you need to understand that the hoovering typically begins before you're completely out of the relationship, right? It's like when you finally sense and you're trying to pull yourself out of it, that's when they understand, okay, I'm about to lose some good supply. So let's go ahead and dive into it, okay? So number one here is that you need to understand that the hoovering is going to be played on guilt, because we're dealing with a covert narcissist here. Guilt, shame, and typically hope, okay? So that's what's going to keep you in this relationship. So when I'm talking guilt, it's basically she's going to try to play it as it's your fault that this marriage is breaking, that you're the one that doesn't want to work on this, right? So like, don't you want to go get therapy? Don't you want to save our marriage? What about all these kids that we have together? How can you do this to us, right? All of a sudden something terrible might start happening in her life, maybe at work, maybe she's going to get some illness, I don't know. Something's going to happen where you're going to feel so freaking guilty that you're leaving her. Like, you're going to be feeling like such a bad person for pulling the plug on it. But this is all part of this, right? Maybe she'll say, let's take a vacation together. We've just been so stressed out. Let's do something together. Maybe she will try to actually get you to take the blame, to think maybe you've changed. So be prepared for all of this. And the hope is going to be that maybe after X, Y, and Z happen, maybe then our marriage is going to turn around, right? It's not going to happen. You had years probably to prove to yourself that this person has been showing up in the same abusive way every single day. So why are you going to buy into this now? Just be very real with yourself, okay? The next one here is going to be the seduction, the affection, and the sex that might actually make its way back into your life for a split second. So covert narcissistic females typically take away all the affection. They pull that away, they weaponize it, right? They typically cut off sex pretty quickly in the marriage, and then you normalize it. And most of my clients can actually count the times that they've been intimate with their partners on, like, 2 hands, because that's how rare it is. Now, when you have been deprived of all of this for so long, and all of a sudden your woman hugs you or decides to actually have sex with you, all of a sudden you're like, wow, maybe things are coming back to normal, maybe things are going to change finally, right? So this might be actually a way for her to suck you back in. But you need to understand once again that how many years, months, how much time has it been since she's been intimate with you, not just on a physical level, but on an emotional level, because that emotional intimacy was likely never there to begin with if you're with a narcissist, okay? So you need to get real with yourself, because remember, if she hoovers you back with this, okay, and then she takes it away again, it's going to be so much harder for you to try to leave the second time around, the third time around, because just more time is going to be wasted, right? So it's going to be so much harder, and you're going to have more resentment towards yourself. So bringing back the affection, the seduction, sweet talking, right? Saying some nice things to you, maybe just not yelling at you for once, not being unhappy for once, right? Trying to be cheerful, and you're like, wow, things are actually changing. Come on, get real with yourself. Look at all the history of all this time that nothing's been different. Why do you think something's different now? Because she's sensing it. The next one here, number 3, is going to be what we call flying monkeys, which simply means that she's going to start talking to all the people that you guys have in common so that they can talk you out of this, okay? Maybe it's going to be your friends, maybe it's going to be your family, maybe it's going to be a church group that you're attending. A lot of my clients are like going to church together, so this woman, a lot of covert narcissistic females love to be churchgoers so that they're perceived as this holy human, right? That's better than others. But that is very, very typical. And basically, they're going to try to talk to everyone around you so that they can talk to you and convince you that you're making the wrong decision here, right? Like, oh, Bill has been changing so much lately. I think he's seeing somebody. He's been so distant. He's pulling away from me. I think he's going to try to end this marriage. Can you guys please talk to him? I love him so much, and I'm so worried about him, okay? And then, of course, your friends, your family, people at your church that have no freaking idea what's actually going on within the 4 walls of your bedroom, because that's typically where the abuse of a covert narcissist is happening, right? this is what's going to happen. They're going to come talk to you, and now when you have people that you actually trust and rely on, right, when those people try to talk to you and convince you that maybe you are after all making the wrong decision, maybe you do need to after all try to do something to save this marriage, right, maybe then this is going to work on you and you're actually going to be convinced to stay, and then maybe you guys will attend, I don't know, a marriage counseling session together for a few months, and then all of a sudden things will end and go back to normal. But then again, the second time around, it's going to be so much harder to leave. Now, I'm talking about all of this when you guys are still living under the same roof, okay? Because once again, the hoovering doesn't have to happen when you're already out. It typically starts happening the second that this woman is sensing that she's losing really good supply. Because as a covert narcissist, she's probably at home, not working, right? Living off of you, munching off of you, and guilt tripping you to compete with yourself all the time, so that you're working harder and harder and harder and still think like you're not enough. That's what typically happens in these marriages or relationships. Now, when she's sensing that you're about to leave, all these tactics begin. But the fourth one here is when you are actually typically out of this marriage, out of the household, not under the same roof with her anymore. This is where the text messaging is going to begin, the calling, right? Maybe she'll start sending you seductive pictures, telling you how much she misses you, again, guilt tripping you, and then you're going to probably have the stalking begin on social media, where she's going to be maybe creating fake accounts, you know, going through all your likes, seeing if you're liking any woman's pictures, seeing if you're seeing anybody, okay, watching your story. It's going to get crazy. And then physical stalking. This is where you need to be actually careful, because there's going to be drive-bys. She might stalk in the new woman that you're seeing, you know. She's going to try to run into you in public places to make sure that, you know, that maybe if you're reminded of her, you're going to come back to her. So this is real stuff, and you need to be prepared for it. Now, when the hoovering finally ends, and I also want to remind you guys that hoovering happens typically this way when you're the one that pulls yourself out of this marriage, because it really activates a lot of shame for them, like, wow, he's dumping me? No way. How dare you, right? So she really tries to bring you back. And also because as a covert narcissist, she's probably munching off of you financially, so she can't have you leave her unless she has new supply. Now, if she pulls the plug on it, then it's going to be different. The hoovering might happen, but down the road when the new supply becomes old and she gets bored, or maybe when the new supply is not as good as you, and you know, she might want to bring you back, or just simply for validation. So that's, you know, that kind of hoovering might happen later on. But the hoovering that I'm explaining here is something that typically happens when your veil is lifted and you're the one that's pulling the plug on this marriage, okay? I hope this is helpful for you guys. You need to understand that once the hoovering ends, that's when the anger and the narcissistic rage really get activated, because at this point you're no longer hers, right? Quote unquote. And she understands that, okay, he left me, how dare you? Now I need to make sure that you suffer. So she's gonna try to do everything, like completely destroy your reputation, say that you were abusive to her, you know, maybe get you locked up in prison, in jail. I've had a lot of this stuff happen to my clients, where they'll go and get a restraining order on them, or lie about something so outrageous where the guy has to wear like an ankle monitor and can't leave the house. This is real stuff. Don't underestimate these people when their narcissistic rage gets activated, because there's so much shame involved, okay? Now, if this is something that you need to be navigated through, please don't hesitate to schedule a one-on-one session with me. My link is in my bio, and please subscribe to the channel and like this video, and if this content is helpful to you. I put out a lot of videos on narcissistic abuse, how to navigate out of these relationships, and just how to, you know, regain your sense of self and self-love after these relationships. More love to each and every one of you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.